broke my daughter's neck. She broke both of my daughter's femurs. She slashed from the inside out. She broke every bone in my daughter's face. Every tooth in the front of her face was gone. Her chin was split wide open. Her eyes was bulging out of her head. I want you. I can't get enough of you. When it's all I want. I'm so on board. I can't get enough of you. Looking through my bus, I think about the way you make me stay. Make me want a cigarette.
Defendant Shanice Felder, seen here on the first day of her trial, was sentenced to 35 years Monday after a jury found her guilty of murder.
So 35 years, it'll work for me because Brittany's birthday was on April the 19th and she would have been 35.
She predicted that time. She got 35 years for her 35th birthday.
This woman walked into a bar with a blade already hidden in her shirt, waited for the right moment, and stabbed a mother of two 9 times in front of a room full of people. And the reason she did it? Because that mother had the nerve to divorce her man. Before we get into what happened that night, you need to understand who Brittany Richard actually was. Brittany Nasiel Richard was born on April 19, 1991 in Galveston, Texas, and she grew up in La Marque, which is a small Gulf Coast town right next to Texas City in Galveston County, about 40 miles southeast of Houston. She was raised in a big, close family, the kind of family where everybody knows everybody and people show up for each other without being asked. By all accounts, Brittany was one of those people who made that culture real. Her family described her as warm, nurturing, and dependable, the person you called when you needed someone to lean on. Professionally, Brittany worked as an accountant for the city of La Marque, where people who worked with her described her as a popular and well-respected employee. On top of that full-time job, she also helped her mother, Shemetria Danielle Richard, run a catering business. So she was not just going through the motions of life. She was actively building something, taking care of her family, contributing to her community, and doing it all with 2 children depending on her. Those 2 children were her whole world. She had a daughter named Ariana and a son named Aaron Cole Jr., and at the time of her death, they were around 13 and 9 years old. Everything Brittany was working toward, every long shift at the city office and weekends spent catering events with her mother, that was all for them. She wanted to give them stability, security, and a good life, and she was putting in the work to make that happen. Now, to understand the other side of this story, you need to know about her marriage, because that is where everything that led to her death started. Brittany had been married to a man named Aaron Cole, who was also the father of her children. At some point during their marriage, Cole started a relationship with another woman while he was still Brittany's husband. According to family, that woman was Shanice Felder. When Brittany found out, she made a decision that any self-respecting person would make. She filed for divorce, went through the legal process the proper way, and was getting ready to close that chapter and move on with her life and her kids. By late August 2024, the divorce was nearly finalized. Cole was set to pay child support and alimony, and under the settlement, he was going to receive 25% of the value of their marital home once it sold. All that was left was for Brittany to show up and sign the paperwork on August 30th. She was hours away from starting over. She never got there. Now let's talk about Shanice Felder, because who she was before that night matters for understanding what kind of decision she made. Shanice I.J. Felder was born on January 22, 1989, which made her 35 years old at the time of the attack. She lived in Hitchcock, Texas, which is right in the same Galveston County area where Brittany and Aaron Cole were also based. She and Aaron Cole were in a relationship, and according to every source that covered this case, Brittany and Felder had never had any direct contact with each other before August 30th, 2024. There was no history of arguments between them, no confrontations or bad blood going back years. The only connection between these 2 women was Aaron Cole. He was the bridge, and he is the reason this story exists.
The woman is murdered just hours before signing divorce papers.
Yet her family is telling us the killer is connected to that breakup.
The victim was killed by her soon-to-be ex-husband's new girlfriend.
What is important to understand about Felder at this point in the story is that she had no documented criminal history before any of this, no prior arrests or prior charges, nothing in the public record that would flag her as someone dangerous. To the outside world, she was just a regular woman from Galveston County living her life. But what the investigation and trial would later reveal is that what she did on that night in August was not impulsive, it was planned. And the evidence to prove that was sitting in her phone and on every camera in that bar. On evening of August 29, 2024, Brittany was out with her family celebrating a younger cousin's birthday. They had already made several stops throughout the night before ending up at Time Out Sports Bar No. 5, located at 9300 Emmett F. Lowry Expressway in Texas City, Texas. Witnesses described the group as happy and close-knit, a family just enjoying their night with no intention of any trouble. What Brittany and her family did not know when they walked through that door was that Shanice Felder and her group were already inside, and Shanice had not come there to have fun. According to the arrest affidavit, Felder made her intentions clear almost immediately after arriving, telling a manager at the bar that things were about to get serious and that she was going to flip some tables. The attack started near the restrooms around 12:30 in the morning on August 30th, 2024. A younger cousin from Brittany's group stepped away to use the restroom, and when she came back out, she was attacked and stopped by two women connected to Felder's group. The moment Brittany saw what was happening to her family member, she moved toward the danger to protect someone she loved, and that decision put her directly in Felder's path.
According to Texas City Police, Brittany Richard was fatally stabbed around 12:30 last Friday morning inside this restaurant and bar, near the end of an evening that included several stops celebrating a cousin's birthday. Her family says the mother of two suffered 9 stab wounds.
No one child deserves to die like that. No one. And it's wrong, and it was horrific, and it was just terrible.
What the surveillance cameras inside that bar captured next is something that cannot be explained away as a fight that got out of hand. The footage showed Felder stepping back from the group around her, reaching into her shirt and pulling out a pink-handled razor blade that she had been carrying with her all night. She then stabbed Brittany Richard 9 times. She also stabbed Brittany's cousin, Shemetria Richard, 3 times before the attack was over. The footage from multiple camera angles showed clearly that Felder was the only person in that bar who pulled out a weapon. There was no mob coming at her or any group of people trying to hurt her. She was the only one who escalated to deadly force and kept going even after Brittany had already gone down. Brittany was rushed to HCA Mainland Hospital and was pronounced dead there. Her cousin, Tootie, who survived, was taken to UTMB Galveston for treatment of her stab wounds. Brittany's mother, Shemetria Richard, was part of the family group that night and didn't make it to the hospital in time to say goodbye to her daughter while she was still alive. When Shemetria finally reached her daughter at the hospital close to 2 in the morning, her body was already cold. You went out celebrating together a few hours earlier, and now you're touching your child, and she is already gone. Now, here is where the investigation begins, because Texas City Police moved fast. When officers arrived at the scene around 2 in the morning, the bar manager handed over the surveillance footage immediately, and that video became the foundation of everything that followed. But investigators didn't stop at one camera. They pulled footage from 2 separate locations, including another nearby bar, which gave them multiple angles of the same attack, so there was no question about what had happened and who had done it. Lead detective Larry Williamson of Texas City Police Department led the investigation, and his most important work came from 4 cell phones belonging to Felder and members of her group. The messages and location data on those phones showed that as Brittany's group walked into Time Out Sports Bar that night, Felder's group was actively watching them arrive and exchanging messages amongst themselves. Investigators described it as lying in wait, meaning Felder and her crew were not there by coincidence. They were tracking Brittany's group and waiting for the right moment, and that digital evidence directly destroyed any claim that what happened was a spontaneous reaction. Bar staff added another layer to that picture when they told investigators what Felder had said upon arriving, that things were about to pop off. A family member of Brittany's also told police that it was not a coincidence that Brittany was killed the same night she was supposed to sign her final divorce papers, and that detail made it into the affidavit.
Felder had fled the scene after the attack, but she did not get far. Just 4 days after the stabbing, on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024, detectives from the Texas City Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division and Crime Suppression Unit tracked her down in Houston and took her into custody.
This week, 35-year-old Shanice Felder was arrested in Houston.
You have the right to retain counsel. You have the right to remain silent.
This is video of her magistrate court appearance in the Galveston County Jail, where she's being held on a combined bond of $450,000 on 2 separate charges.
One is a charge of murder, and the other is a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Felder is also accused of injuring one of Brittany's cousins.
She was later transferred to the Galveston County Jail, and shortly after, a Galveston County grand jury formally indicted her on both counts, sending the case to trial in the 212th District Court.
We're just trying to hold on to our last memories as being happy, loving on each other, and we just want justice.
Her family says Brittany died the same day she was supposed to have signed divorce papers, and that Felder was her soon-to-be ex's girlfriend, adding the 2 women never had any prior altercations and that the attack inside the bar was unprovoked.
While the legal process was moving forward, Brittany's family was carrying 2 things at once: grief and responsibility. They organized a community vigil in Lamarck and held her funeral on September 14, 2024, at Carnes Funeral Home Chapel in Texas City. Her mother launched a GoFundMe called Help Brittany's Family Recover from Senseless Violence to cover funeral costs and help care for the 2 children Brittany left behind. And those kids, a 13-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son, were now growing up without the person who had been at the center of their entire world, while waiting nearly 2 more years for a courtroom to decide what justice looked like for their mother. The trial of Shanice I.J. Felder began on April 6, 2026, in the 212th District Court of Galveston County, Texas. Nearly a year and a half after Brittany was killed, her family was finally sitting in a courtroom watching the evidence go before a jury. The prosecution was led by Chief Violence Against Women prosecutor Kate Willis and Assistant District Attorney Samantha Fonseca from the Galveston County Criminal District Attorney's Office, and they built their case almost entirely on objective evidence, camera footage, and phone data that did not require anyone to take anyone's word for anything. The centerpiece of the prosecution's case was the surveillance footage, and it is not hard to understand why. Jurors watched video from multiple camera angles inside Timeout Sports Bar number 5 that showed the whole sequence in real time. Felder standing apart from everyone else, stepping backward, reaching into her shirt, pulling out the razor blade, and then what she did with it. The footage showed plainly that Felder was the only person in that entire bar who drew a weapon. She was the aggressor, and the video made that impossible to argue against. After the verdict, prosecutor Kate Willis described the footage as undeniable evidence of guilt, and based on what it showed, it is difficult to disagree with that.
I'm told surveillance video from the attack was played multiple times during the days-long trial.
Her falling out, her getting back up. It was awful. I had to leave the courtroom numerous times. It was bad.
Alongside the video, Detective Larry Williamson presented his findings from the 4 cell phones he had analyzed during the investigation. The bar employees also got on the stand and told the jury what they had seen and heard that night, including Felder's statement that things were about to pop off when she arrived. Family members and friends who had been out with Brittany testified about the mood of their group, making clear they were there to celebrate a birthday and were not looking for any kind of confrontation. Witness after witness described the attack as completely one-sided and completely unprovoked, and their accounts matched exactly what the video showed. Now, the defense did try. They argued self-defense, claiming Felder had been attacked by a group and was simply fighting back to protect herself. To support that version of events, they called Aaron Cole to the witness stand. Yes, that Aaron Cole. Brittany's estranged husband, the man whose affair with Shanice Felder started all of this, sat down in front of the jury as a witness for the woman who killed her children's mother. And under cross-examination by prosecutor Kate Willis, his story kept changing. It shifted multiple times, and every inconsistency gave the prosecution more material to work with. He ended up helping the state's case more than he helped Felder's. After closing arguments, the jury went to deliberate, and they did not take long. In less than 2 hours, they came back with a unanimous decision. Shanice I.J. Felder was found guilty on both counts, murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. For sentencing, Felder received 35 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for the murder charge, plus 8 years for the aggravated assault on Brittany's cousin, Tootie. Both sentences to run at the same time. That means she serves 35 years total before the question of parole even comes up.
I feel really good about it.
Defendant Shanice Felder, seen here on the first day of her trial, was sentenced to 35 years Monday after a jury found her guilty of murder.
So 35 years, it'll work for me because Brittany's birthday was on April the 19th, and she would have been 35.
She predicted that time. She got 35 years for her 35th birthday.
The family considers this an important step in their journey for justice as they raise Richard's 2 children without their mother.
They pass an urn every day with their mother in it. That's how they see their mother, in an urn.
According to the Galveston County DA's office, Felder was also found guilty of aggravated assault in relation to the stabbing of Richard's cousin. That 8-year sentence will be served at the same time as the 35 years for murder.
What makes this case stay with you is not just the violence of it, though 9 stab wounds in the middle of a birthday celebration is already devastating enough on its own. It's the planning behind it. Felder did not lose control in the heat of the moment. She brought a weapon to that bar, told staff something was about to happen before anything did, and tracked Brittany's group on her phone from the moment they walked in. She knew what she came to do, and she did it. And the man who created this situation by having an affair while still married to Brittany, the man who owed her child support and alimony, the man who then sat on the witness stand trying to help the woman who killed her, he still goes home every day to a life while Brittany's children pass an urn. So the real question this story leaves behind is not about the verdict, because the jury handled that in under 2 hours. The question is about what we let men put women through and what we expect women to just accept. Because Brittany Richard did everything right. She found out, she filed, she went through the courts properly, and she was hours from being free. Think about that next time someone tells you leaving is the safe option. Drop your thoughts in the comments section.
Why you be letting me do that? Why you be letting me run around here like I don't got no home training? I gotta stop drinking.
It is ice.
Well, you might as well go and take the rest of your shot.
You go ahead and take the rest of your shot. Go ahead now, girl. Shot about. She drinking. Get your pickle juice. She drinking. And she still got this and ain't drinking.
That's my second one. My second Long Island. She tried it. I'm gonna drink the head of her.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Where you at, Charlotte? We need to start over.
Be like you mama, oh, put them down, that I scream, oh, yeah.
And if you want to see more stories like this one, tap that card because we've got cases that will make this one look mild. I'll see you there.